everyone for joining us this evening. My name is Amber. I am the events coordinator here at Nature's Fair Market. Tonight we are excited to welcome Paige Martin from AquaOmega. Paige is a registered acupuncturist, a holistic nutritionist, and in this talk she's going to break down the best sources of omega-3s and share practical tips on how to help you stay on track. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Paige Martin. Paige is just logging in here.
Yes.
Hear
Can
you.
you hear me okay?
But we don't see you yet.
Okay. I'm pushing the button. And let me try here. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm pushing the button, I do promise, and it's not turning on. Of course, this would be the case. I do apologize.
We were just live with Paige 2 minutes ago.
I know, of course. We know it works.
Yeah.
What would you think is best here?
Well, we can get started. We can see your lovely profile picture here, but I can share the slides, and we can get started if that works for you.
Yeah, please. I do apologize about that, everyone. I hope it is just maybe taking a minute to load my face here, and do just let me know if it comes on here. I'm so sorry.
These things happen.
These things happen. So I am having behind the camera today. I do apologize, but thank you. So I am Paige, and thank you, Amber, for the wonderful introduction. So I'm very excited to be sharing all the benefits of AquaOmega and ways that we can support heart health, and a healthy lifestyle. And so I can even click next here. So why heart health matters for so many things. Your heart powers everything you do. So this is from your morning workouts to evening time with your loved ones. It beats over 100,000 times a day, circulating oxygen and nutrients throughout your body. So choosing habits and nutrition that support your heart can make a meaningful difference in your energy, longevity, and overall well-being. So omega-3s and your daily wellness. Of course, this talk is geared towards your heart. So heart support is number one. EPA and DHA omega-3s are recognized for their role in supporting cardiovascular function and maintaining healthy triglyceride levels. Omega-3s can also be phenomenal for brain function. So this is the essential fatty acids for cognitive health, mental clarity throughout your daily activities, as well as overall vitality. So this is going to be a supportive role in your everyday health routines. So keep making you feel the best from the inside out. So omega-3 fatty acids are widely recognized as nutrients that support heart-focused lifestyles and complement balanced nutrition habits. So AquaOmega's purpose and how we work is we work to create a high quality omega-3 supplement designed to support your wellness journey. So this includes routines centered around heart health. So at AquaOmega, we believe that exceptional supplements start with exceptional ingredients. So every bottle reflects our commitment to purity, sustainability, and your well-being. So we are all about thoughtful formulation. So all the way from our sustainable sourcing, where we select anchovies from clean, responsibly managed waters in the South Pacific. And of course, we ensure all environmental stewardship and quality from the start. And then we go right into advanced purification. So this is where we undergo cold molecular distillation, where we remove contaminants while preserving beneficial nutrients and freshness. So just know I do have more slides on this as well, and I'll get into more in depth with some of this information. This is just kind of a touch point for you. And we are all about potency testing. So every batch is tested for EPA and DHA concentrations to ensure you receive optimal levels in every serving. And of course, it's our freshness guarantee. Obviously, we're talking about fish oil, and I can only imagine the ones of you who have tried fish oil or have those funny stories from back in the day, taking those old spoons of cod liver oil. I've heard all the stories, and it's really about making sure that we are delivering an omega-3 that is fresh, effective, and free from that fishy aftertaste. Okay, so we craft our omega-3s with care, focusing on purity, freshness, and potency, and supportive additions to a heart-conscious habit. So when we're looking at a heart-focused lifestyle, there's obviously so much that can go into it, but it's really about having consistent and holistic choices that work together to support your cardiovascular system. So AquaOmega naturally fits into this comprehensive approach. So obviously, if we're looking for heart health, the first thing we always want to look at is balanced nutrition. This is going to be whole foods rich in fiber. This is going to be your healthy fats. This is going to be lean proteins. And that's kind of the foundation for when we're looking at that whole foods eating. Then we're going to get into that regular movement. So physical activity is going to help strengthen your heart muscle and improve circulation throughout the body. And then, of course, stress management. We can't emphasize this enough. We kind of see it everywhere from everything that's kind of inflammatory can also be linked a lot of the time with stress. And so when we're looking at stress, we want to be really considerate of mindfulness, your quality of sleep, relaxation techniques, and all these things that can help really regulate your blood pressure and your heart rhythm. And then, of course, we go right into our supportive supplements, and this is where AquaOmega omega-3s complement your nutrition. So this is where we're going to work on filling those gaps for your omega-3s and enhancing your heart-focused routine. I just hit the camera again. I'm just trying to hope that it's going to let me this time, but if no luck, I do apologize. I am here with you. So AquaOmega really wants to be quality you can trust. So everything we do is third-party tested, and I will go into the regulations and the standards of what we do there. But we use independent labs, we verify purity, potency, and the absence of heavy metals, PCBs, and other contaminants. So this is something too that a lot of the time when we are looking at fish sources from the ocean, unfortunately, just the current state of the ocean, we do have to be concerned with heavy metals, and AquaOmega goes above and beyond to ensure that we are testing to ensure that there is not that heavy metal concern with our products. And what we do is all sustainable practices. So we partner with fisheries committed to environmental responsibility and ocean conservation. And then we are all about transparent standards. So every product meets rigorous quality benchmarks, and we stand behind what is in every capsule. And when I do say transparency, I'll discuss a little bit more of that with our third-party testing, but you can actually look up every single lot and every single product of AquaOmega. We want complete transparency with all of our products. We want you to feel very confident with what you're taking and what you're consuming and feel like you really are empowered with the choices. And then we are all triglyceride forms. So this is going to be better absorption and better bioavailability, excuse me on that word. But we are responsible for sourcing for third-party testing, and it's the quality is the center of every AquaOmega bottle. So we really want to help to work with supporting your everyday wellness goals. And we're designed with you in mind. So when you are thinking of omega-3s, you might be going, okay, well, like, you know, where would I fit, and where do omegas fit in my lifestyle? So AquaOmegas can be designed for those that are active. So this can be great for those that are really trying to maintain their cardiovascular system to achieve their fitness goals. I also want to mention for active lifestyles, omega-3s can be really good for joint health as well. So if you're doing an activity that might be like hard on your joints, or maybe like some repetitive motion that can be difficult, this is where we really like those active lifestyle omegas. And then we've got family wellness. So this is going to be great for like healthy eating habits. We want to look at omega-3s as something for the whole family at all ages and stages of development and life. And then, of course, long-term health. So when you're investing in your future with supplements that support lifelong heart health and vitality, and of course, that does mean that you're taking the right dose and you are taking a good quality. So whether you're looking to maintain a heart supportive lifestyle or simply elevate your nutritional routine, this is where AquaOmega offers options that fit your needs. So we have an omega-3 for, like I said, every member of the family. And this is really the goal, is that we want omegas to be accessible for everyone. And so knowing your omegas, so this is where I have mentioned EPA, I have mentioned DHA, I've said all these things, and this is how I really want you to start making these connections with the omega-3s. So EPA, just a little way to kind of let that stick, is I want you to think of ease the pain away. Okay, so EPA can be wonderful for inflammation. This is where we're really going to be looking at it for heart health. So this is great for supporting healthy blood pressure and triglyceride levels. Okay, so that's the EPA that you'll often find in these fish oil products. This is where you'll also find it for joint health. So of course, if you are looking at a heart healthy lifestyle where you're being more active, you're eating well, you also want to make sure your joints can keep you moving. So EPA is going to be great for your joint health. It's going to support your joint comfort and cartilage recovery. This is also going to be great for healthy mood, because obviously when we're in a good mood, we tend to work out well and eat well and live well. And so healthy mood is specific more so for anxiety, depression with EPA. And I do have some studies that I can touch on with you in these later slides. And I also want you to think of EPA for immune health, because this is going to help with a healthy immune response by regulating the inflammatory responses of the body. So EPA is also the one I would want you thinking of for dry eye. So again, this is just the benefits. Like you get heart health, and then you get all of these wonderful additions with this EPA product. So I want you to think of it as like, yes, it's great for your heart, and then it does all of these other wonderful things for the body. So that's your EPA. When we look at DHA, it's going to be eye health, but more so specific for the retina. So I do have some people that take it because they have had issues with their retina. They're going to want to take DHA. And DHA is more the omega-3 that is the vital structural fat of the brain. So I really want you to think of it as almost the building block of your brain. So when we're thinking of it for development, I want you thinking of like fetal, infant, and child development, because of course, as kids are growing, they're growing their brain, they're learning, they're discovering things for the first time. And so DHA is really vital for that. But I also want you to think of DHA for supporting learning and memory throughout life. So I want you to think of like your college students. I also want you to think of people that are maybe like learning a new language or going back to school as an adult, or we can look at age-related kind of memory decline as well. Okay, so that's where DHA really comes in. And then ALAs, these are these wonderful nutrient-dense plant food sources. Okay, so these are things like your hemp, your chia, your flax, your coconut, your avocado. They're really, really wonderful nutrient-dense foods. But what it is that your body needs to convert those plant sources to EPA and DHA. You generally get a poor conversion rate, and those plant sources can be easily oxidized. So while they are phenomenal nutrient-rich foods, and I think we should absolutely include them in our daily life and our daily diet, I just want you to be mindful of, depending on how much EPA and DHA your body actually needs, getting it through plant sources alone would be difficult, but I do have a plant-based option for you. So there is a silver lining for all those of you that are maybe plant-based, that don't do fish and are curious of what you would take. I do have something for you as well. And so when we're looking at it, of course, it's easy to kind of pick on the standard American diet. And that's kind of, the acronym of the SAD diet. And this is often one that we know is, not the best for our overall health, especially when we're looking at heart health. So really what I want you to take away is your omega-6 and omega-3 ratios. Sometimes it can be in these standard American diets as high as 20:1, whereas in an ideal ratio would be like a 1:1 or a 2:1. So what this means is we want your omega-6s to be in line with your omega-3s. What this does is your omega-6s are more inflammatory, okay? So they're more inflammatory, whereas your omega-3s are more anti-inflammatory. So what we don't want is a diet that's really high in omega-6s, which can be more of those inflammatory markers. And this can lead to things like joint pain and heart disease. So when we're looking at heart health, we really want to focus and gear towards those omega-3s, those more anti-inflammatory omegas. It's not saying omega-6s aren't fine to have. It's just really about making sure we're getting our 6s and 3s in the ideal ratio. It's all about balance, right? So when we're looking at that, this is where my nutritionist hat really comes in, where I, as a nutritionist, always want to tell you to eat good whole foods first. And I do believe that, and I still stand behind that 100%. And I think that is always the priority when I'm talking about supplements. I want you to know that diet always comes first. We want you to have a healthy, balanced life and feel really good about what you're doing. That being said, when we are looking at omega-3s, so when we are looking at fish oil in particular, you would need to be consuming about 6 to 60 ounces of fish per day to equal 1 serving of an AquaOmega fish oil. So what I do also want to match this with is when we are looking at these healthy lifestyle recommendations, is I want you to be mindful of how much fish you might need to consume to get the dose that is right for you. And so, 6 ounces of fish a day may work for some people, and I think that's wonderful, but I think it would be much harder for many of us to be getting 60 ounces of fish a day. There would also be, again, a significant cost to that. That would be quite a costly diet to have. And, I would also be cautious with recommending that just based on the high levels of PCBs, microplastics, when we're looking at the mercury and heavy metals that are in the water today. So we also want to be mindful, because I know there's a lot of recommendations coming out, and I've heard this from many people where they're saying, oh, okay, yes, you can have fish, but, twice a week. And when we're looking at that, they're concerned with the twice a week, and from why they're saying that is because they don't want you getting too many heavy metals. So they almost think, oh, well, that's a solution. But what that does is that kind of puts us in this tough spot of like, where are we getting our omega-3s from then? Okay, so this is where, yes, let's lead with a good, healthy, balanced diet from that earlier slide where we're getting good fiber, good proteins, lots of veggies. But I just want to be mindful that a lot of us are really going to need to supplement with our omega-3s, because it would be hard to get through diet alone. And so this is where we actually look at how much you need. And so I think a lot of us can kind of put ourselves in the category that we feel we belong in here. So maintenance is for those of you that are feeling good. You don't really have too many health complaints. You're really just eating a healthy, balanced diet. And that would be, for when I'm looking at this, I would be considering this for those that are really just, they've got the diet down, you don't have too many health concerns, you're feeling really good. This is where I would be looking at maintenance. Okay, so this is just balancing your omega-6s and your omega-3s for the average person's healthy, balanced diet. Okay, so 2.5 grams of omega-3s per day. When we're looking at cardiovascular health, and certainly because this slide is geared towards that heart health, I want you to think, for those that are actually looking for more of that cardiovascular support, that can go up towards 5 grams per day. When we're looking at chronic inflammation, and of course, chronic inflammation can come from so many things. As I've mentioned earlier in one of the slides, it can be stress. It can also be diet with high omega-6s. There's a lot of factors that come with inflammation. It could be site of injury. So I really want you to keep this in mind. But, omega-3s in research are showing doses of 5 to 10 grams per day for chronic inflammation. When we're looking at neurological disease, this would be 10 to 25 grams per day. Okay, so this is just kind of a slide that I want you to just be mindful of when we're looking at how much omegas we actually need, and then where we would be getting it if we were just doing it diet alone. Do we need supplements? And it's just something for you to kind of keep in mind. So Why does your body need fish oil? So when omega-3s are taken appropriately, fish oils can be the most effective supplement in terms of boosting your overall health and helping to mitigate the risk of many diseases and chronic health issues. So what I want you to note is the benefit of taking a high quality fish oil include powerful anti-inflammatory effects. You've got improved cardiovascular and heart health, which we love. We've got improved cognitive function. We've got mood regulation. We've got immune system support. We've got reduction in the risk of developing diabetes and heart disease, alleviation of inflammation-related autoimmune symptoms. We've got alleviation of symptoms of depression and anxiety. That's where I touched on that with the EPA. I made a little note for that earlier in my slides. And we've got skin, hair, and other aesthetic benefits, which is just really a nice added bonus. And so I think for many of us, we're looking for all, if not at least a handful of these things. And really, fish oil is the baseline. And so what I want you thinking is your fish oil is the foundation. So really, we want all these effects. And sometimes we're looking at, many supplements or many diets. We're trying to find all these things. And really what I want you to take away is healthy, balanced nutrition. Good quality omega-3s are doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So a lot of the things that you're looking for, really, we just want to make sure you're getting the right dose of omega-3s for you and your body. We're getting the right amount of movement, healthy, nourishing foods, and we are going to achieve a lot, right? We're going to get a lot of improvement just there. And then if we need to look further and do more things, by all means, but I think omega-3s are really a part of the foundation. And so with AquaOmega, what kind of sets us apart is that we are all single sourced. So a lot of the time when you are looking at fish oils, you'll find different blends. You'll find, sardines, anchovies, and mackerel. There's often a blend. The reason we do single source anchovies is because of many, many reasons. But as you can see in this photo, they are swimming very close together. They almost kind of form like a wall. And so there's over 100 different species. They spread across various regions in the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans. And they are naturally very high in omega-3 fatty acids. So their actual food source is algae. So algae is another one that I am going to touch on for you as a good omega-3 option for those of you that are plant-based or maybe looking for more plant-based options in your day. And so what it is because anchovies are eating algae, not other fish, and they have the shortest lifespan of all fish. So what you see is that they are not as contaminated with pollutants or microplastics. So what happens is obviously with bigger fish, they tend to eat littler fish. And it means they live longer and they're kind of higher up on the food chain, which means that they are picking up more heavy metals. So they have the opportunity to, obviously, if you're living in the ocean longer, you have more opportunities to pick up heavy metals. You have more opportunities to pick up microplastics. You have more opportunities to kind of eat a fish that is also picking these things up. So anchovies are a very clean source naturally, again, based on their food. They have a very short lifespan, which means that you get multiple fishing seasons, which is really lovely as well. And what I want you to note is because they're swimming so tight together here, we actually use very small nets for our anchovies. So of course, small fish equals small nets. Bonus for this is that it means we're not trailing the ocean floor and we are actually dolphin friendly. So I just want you to note that when you're picking up bigger fish, there is a risk of picking up things you don't want or hurting the environment in some way. And we really, really want to emphasize that we are all about sustainable fishing practices. We really want fish oil to be something that we can take and for years and years and generations to come, we have access to. And so this is why we focus on single source anchovies. Again, it's a clean source. And when you're already starting from a clean source, it makes it very easy to make a clean omega-3 product. So we are fresh caught. So that's another thing that I want you to note. And it's something to note when you're taking fish oil. It's not always something that you see on the bottle. So you are getting a lot of information as well on kind of the the ways omega-3s can support your body and your heart, but also kind of the background to quality and the integrity of the oil and why that matters as well. So we are all fresh caught. So we never use frozen anchovies. From the time the anchovies are actually caught off the coast of the South Pacific, they're actually processed in the fishery within an hour. And just a little insider info is that because obviously off the coast of the South Pacific, it's quite warm. So from the boat, there's actually a tube that goes underwater into the fishery. That is where all the fish are unloaded so that they're not actually exposed to the heat, light, or oxygen that is outside when it's a warm day. And that tube is also weighed to ensure sustainable fishing practices. We always fish by weight based on what is allowed. So sustainable fishing practices are at the absolute top, obviously giving you a high quality product, and all the way from the sourcing of those ingredients is obviously our priority. But just know that that is something that we care about. We want to make sure that it is sustainable and high quality. So this is probably my favorite. So if you are listening to anything on this slide, this is my slide that I am most excited to share with you. So I have mentioned that AquaOmega does triglyceride omega-3s. It was one of the first two slides, and I touched on that it's an important thing for us. What I want you to note with triglycerides is that they are stable, they have low levels of oxidation, and it's the natural state that the fish is in the water. So when you have fish that are living in the water, they are in a natural triglyceride state. Of course, when you're taking true fish oil in its natural state, and we haven't really denatured it or changed anything, you're not going to get any fishy taste, burps, or indigestion. When we look at ethyl esters, what happens is there is a ethanol or usually a hexane used in the processing of that oil. And so what happens is, even though most of it is removed, it does remain in the product. And this is where a lot of the time when we hear things like, I take my fish oil and I get an upset stomach, or some people even break out in like a rash, like they get quite itchy. I've seen, and a lot of the fishy burp back. So a lot of that like fishy repeat after you've taken your omega-3 is, I would argue, from my years with AquaOmega, is the main reason people don't like taking their fish oil, is because they don't want to be burping fish oil all day, of course. I've heard some wild stories of people putting their omega-3s in the freezer and taking them at night so that they would burp through the evening and not through the day. And I think these are the reasons that it makes it really hard for us to nourish with our omega-3s. And so what I want you to know is that AquaOmega, we just keep the oil in its natural state. We really do not need to change what's already working. And when you're taking a oil and a triglyceride, like I've said, you're not going to get that fishy kind of burp or indigestion. So when we're looking at how AquaOmega does that, it's a different type of process versus our solvent extraction. And so what we do for AquaOmega is we use a vacuum condition. So if you don't know, but oils, especially like fish oils, and including like, some of us might even think of it for olive oils, but heat, light, and oxygen are the three things that will oxidize your oil. So obviously we don't want to take a rancid or oxidized oil, because that would of course be quite fishy. And so what we do is we have like a vacuum chamber. It's at 0 degrees and there's no heat, light, or oxygen in that chamber. So all the oil goes in there. And what we're actually able to do is we're actually able to filter those EPA components, right? Remember the ease the pain away components, and our DHA components, think D, direct to the brain, right? Because it was the structural fat of the brain. And what we can do is we can filter those two ingredients that we really want, because those are the good omega-3s. And then we can actually filter by weight by reducing the environmental contaminants. So that's where we're actually able to take the molecular weight of heavy metals like mercury. We can take PCBs and dioxins, and we can actually separate everything by weight. So we're actually able to keep all the good and kick out all the bad just by weighing it, right, in this vacuum-like chamber. This is a very efficient way of isolating your fatty acids. And so we're actually able to remove your unwanted components due to precise control. So this is obviously a more expensive process. This is just based on the equipment and the energy that is required to create the vacuum chamber and that 0 degrees. Like, there is a bit more that goes into it. And then you're going to end up with a really high quality supplement where high concentration of purity and omega-3s are critical. Now, what I want you to know is where this varies from solvent extraction is a lot of the time during solvent extraction, what you do is you have your crude oil and then you use like a hexane or an ethanol, and it very efficiently separates the EPA and the DHA. Now, what you have to do is obviously get the chemical solvent out of your finished product. So what that means is you're actually going to have to bring that oil to a boil. So it usually goes to a boil so that you can evaporate some of those solvents off. The problem with this is where this ethyl ester has denatured the natural state of that oil. So it's no longer in its natural triglyceride state. And you do end up with very small amounts of those chemical solvents that are really a part of that indigestion and burp up. Okay, so a lot of the time when people are having these issues with fish oil, particular, I want you to keep in mind that it is often because of a processing, because of course, if you could eat anchovies or you eat fish and you don't generally have an issue, I want you to recognize that, the issues that could come would likely be from a production and or possibility of the processing. So obviously you're going to get like a much better like bulk processing with this process, and it is more cost efficient when you go with a solvent extraction method. So this is I always say this, I'm always like, oh, every slide is important. Everyone listen, this is such good information, but I truly believe it. So I hope the excitement comes through. You can't see my face. I do promise I'm smiling, and I have clicked that button a few times. And so we'll see if it works for us one of these days. But in this study, so just so you know, for many of you, I saw some local people popping on. We do work with Boucher Naturopathic Institute in New Westminster, as well as CCNM out in Toronto. So I just want you to know we work a lot with the naturopathic students and clinics out there, and they do actually have a wonderful research lab. So they're actually really interested in doing research with natural health brands like ourselves. So we do partner with them a lot. And so this was one of the studies that I do love because it really shows the difference that omega-3s can make. So what we had was we wanted to measure the impact of our AquaOmega high EPA omega-3 on your blood levels after 30 days of use. So we had our participants, now these were naturopathic doctors, naturopathic medical students, and our registered dietitians, and they were not taking an omega-3 within 4 weeks of beginning the study. So after supplementing with AquaOmega's high EPA for 4 weeks, which is one bottle, so just keep in mind all our bottles are about a month's supply, we measured their blood levels after. We saw an average increase of 44%. So I am going to show you this on a graph, okay, just so you can kind of see start scores. So July start scores are here at the bottom in red. This is where we had our NDs, our dietitians, and our students starting. Now, what I want you to take away from this is obviously we saw a 44% increase. So everyone's levels went up. This is really wonderful to see. But what I want you to note here is the same as when we're testing any sort of vitamin or doing any sort of blood test, we have an optimal level. Your optimal levels with omega-3s are a 10. Okay, so when I'm showing you those slides and we're talking about how it is hard to get omega-3s with just diet alone, this is a slide I kind of want you to take away. It's not that you're not healthy or you're making good choices. It's just hard to get to those optimal levels, certainly without supplementing. What I want to note here is that the group that we used in this study were dietitians. They were naturopathic doctors. These were some of the healthiest in the know people as far as diet and nutrition we could find. And even their levels were quite low. So it's just something to make note of. So what I want you to note here is that even the healthiest of the healthy still had some low levels. We saw some great results and a 44% increase in your omega-3s, especially if you are starting from a deficiency state, is a really nice boost. So it's a really nice way to make sure that you're getting at least up to the kind of baseline where we want everyone to be so that we can focus on that heart health. We can have those anti-inflammatory effects. We can, get relief from dry eye. We can remember what we're talking about because we're getting enough DHA, like all of these wonderful benefits from taking these omega-3s. We want to be at optimal levels for all of them. Okay. So just something to note. And this is a great way to just kind of have a picture on what 1 month of taking an AquaOmega product can do. And so now we get into the good stuff. So with AquaOmega, we do have our full range. And so we've got this one here, which is our regular strength EPA. So EPA, again, I can't say it enough, but ease the pain away. Think of it for your anti-inflammatory. This is all wild-caught anchovies. This is a high-quality supplement in that triglyceride format. So that means it's made in that vacuum chamber away from heat, light, and oxygen. You're going to get optimal levels for absorption and maximum benefits here. So this is going to give you your essential fatty acids. And this was really a balanced and cost-effective, solution to support heart health, cognitive function, and overall well-being. We really wanted AquaOmega to be accessible for as many people as possible. We wanted it to be accessible for whole families. We don't want, one person in the family taking their omegas and nobody else can. And this is where that regular strength really comes in. It's giving you that 1.7 grams of your omega-3s, all from those single source anchovies. Okay. And again, you're getting that heart health, you're getting the cognitive function here. And this is, again, a really just a nice cost-effective solution. If you're looking to get into omegas, really just like you're looking to get omegas, maybe even for the first time, maybe you don't have any, health concerns that you're too worried about. You just know, hopefully after this presentation that omega-3s cover quite a few things and you feel like you're ready to get started. This is a great place to start. Okay. Then we've got our standard. Okay. So this is the 3X EPA. So we've got our ease the pain away, but this one here is all those wild caught anchovies, pristine waters off the South Pacific. And this is your minimum daily dose of a pharmaceutical grade omega-3. So when it says pharmaceutical grade, what I want you to know is that there's Health Canada standards for, purity and contaminants that are allowable in product. We go 50 times above that. It just means we want to give you the cleanest product around. It is not that you need a prescription for this product by any means. It just means our quality standards. We took Health Canada's and then we just went 50 times above. So we just really want to give you the best of the best that we possibly can. And then this is over 3 times the concentration of other leading brands. Like when we're really looking at this, our main focus here is giving you the high amount of EPA that most of us have been missing based off, that study and that slide I showed you for where many of us were kind of starting around a 3 or a 4 out of 10. This is a great product. And so when I showed you that maintenance dose, which was 2.5 grams a day, and I said, this is for all those people that are feeling like you don't have too many health issues, you just want to balance your omega-6s and your omega-3s in a healthy, balanced way, this is the product for you. This is going to be great for dry eye. This is going to be great for your cardiovascular support. So this is going to have a huge impact for like heart health, for anti-inflammatory. This is also going to help your joints. So this is going to be great for chronic pain and stiffness. And so a lot of the time people want to make healthy choices. I think a lot of us do, but I have my partners and his family, they have bad joints, like truly, like it just seems to be a thing where it's like bad knees. And a lot of the time when you're in pain and you have knee pain specifically, and again, this is just one example, I'm sure you can all think of many, people with, let's say, knee pain are going to have a hard time exercising. So how are you getting that piece of, this heart healthy lifestyle with the good nutrition if we've got joint pain that's maybe limiting us to get the activity we need? So I really want you to think of this as well as like, yes, the EPA is phenomenal for your cardiovascular support, but it can also really help your joints to keep you moving well. And then, of course, arthritis support. So we do actually go kind of beyond just like inflammation, but then we actually go into like more of an arthritis support. So this could be like more of like a preventing osteoporosis, helping keep the inflammation down as well. And so this is really where I want you to think of this standard. So this 3X, you can kind of keep an eye on that. Then When we go into our 5x EPA, this is the one we did that clinical research study on when I was mentioning it with CCNM and Boucher, and I showed you that graph where I said this was for the dietitians, naturopathic students. This was the product we used specifically in that study. So if you are a person who you're like, I know I am low in omega-3s, I haven't had fish in 3 years, again, painting a very, very hypothetical picture for you, but if you were the person who's like, I know I'm not taking my omegas, I do have joint pain, or I have concerns about my cardiovascular health, or I have issues in my family that I want to, get ahead of, like I don't want to fall in the same pattern, I would really be looking at this product for, on average, it's going to raise your blood spot for your omega-3 status by 44% in 1 month. Okay, so that is your one bottle. Okay. So this is going to be your high dose. Again, it's all pharmaceutical grade. That just means that our quality standards are just very, very clean. And this is going to give you 5 times more concentrated than any other leading brand of high EPA products on the market. Okay. All of our products are third-party tested through IFOS, so it's IFOS. You can type in any lot of AquaOmega's product and it will give you a full rundown. So I know I've said a lot of great things about having no heavy metals and having a really clean product. What I want you to know is that you can fact check me. You can go onto IFOS and you can say, Paige said this and she meant it and it was there, and you can feel empowered. Like, I really want you to, there's so often and so many times we buy something and we're like, oh, darn, I wish I hadn't taken that, or, oh, I wish I had known this. We want you to know exactly what you're taking and feel excited about it. We want you to feel empowered. And then bonus, we want you to feel really good. We want your joints to feel good. We want your cardiovascular function to be good. If your skin feels nice and you've got some, relief from dry eye, even better. Okay, so that's really where this 5X comes in. It's your high EPA. So this is, again, your 5 times concentration of that ease the pain away ingredient. This is where we're really looking at cardiovascular support. So this is obviously a huge impact for body and mind, but I really want you to think of this as your heavy hitter. Like, this is a good dose of your omega-3s. You're getting about 3.5 grams in your capsules, and you're getting about 4.4 grams. Again, you can take milligrams to grams, however you like to look at it, in your liquid. So just know that the capsules in the liquid, the reason the capsules are always just a little bit lower in potency is because we can only fit so much oil in a pill. It is not because we want to give you less omega-3s by any means. It's just we cannot make the pills any bigger because you would not like taking them. It would be impossible to swallow at that point. We just couldn't do it to you. We won't do it. People have asked, we won't. So just, it's up to you how you like to take it. I would say, of course, you're going to get a little bit higher potency in the liquid. So if you're okay with a liquid, by all means, it's half a tablespoon once a day. If you're a capsule person, it's 4 capsules a day. So all of our products are 4 capsules a day. All of our liquids are half a tablespoon. So we do want to make it easy for you. And I would say it's just whatever you are going to take, and you are going to take daily and consistency, because this is your daily essential nutrient. Okay. So this high EPA, again, I can't say it enough for inflammation support and arthritis support, but I would say this would be for people that are really looking to rapidly get their levels up, right? This is going to be that 44% increase in a month. This would be for those of you that really are looking to get your omegas up. Okay. So this is where I want you thinking of that EPA. And our DHA. So now DHA is certainly more targeted for the brain, and we've given a lot of attention to the heart, but I can't let you leave without having this little bit of knowledge. So the DHAs, again, I want you to think the D in DHA, D direct to the brain, okay? So this is your highest concentrated DHA on the market. We are essential for the fatty acid that is responsible for early stage brain development in the fetus and young children. And DHA has also been shown to slow down symptoms associated with early onset Alzheimer's and dementia. Okay, so I really want you thinking of brain health for anyone looking to improve overall brain health. I also want you thinking of this for people with mental decline, like early onset Alzheimer's and dementia. And I want you thinking of this actually for healthy pregnancy. If you or people you know, please think of DHA, because it is the essential fatty acid responsible for early stage brain development in the fetus and young children. It can also help with reducing the risk of postpartum depression and the quote unquote, I'm making air quotes, I promise you can't see me, but I am making them, for that like mommy brain fog, right? So like that mommy brain, I really want you thinking of DHA as well. Also for me, I love DHA just for helping with recall. Obviously, I do these presentations a lot. I do have to have facts and figures and information. And while these slides are quite detailed, I always want to make sure I know what I'm talking about. And I really find DHA is what I want you thinking of for those that are maybe doing a lot of office work, maybe in school, or students. Think of DHA for them as well, okay? Also, I would say for those that are like, oh, okay, well, you know, I need more DHA, but I also want to focus on kind of the heart health. You're still getting a good dose of EPA in this product, okay? It's definitely geared more. It's just the ratio is going to be more dialed up for brain health, but you are still getting a wonderful dose of EPA there for your heart, okay? And now I hear it all the time. And for all of those, I hope you're saying it and you're like, but I'm both. That's where we've got you with the balanced, okay? So I know many people that I've talked to in my time with AquaOmega are like, I fall somewhere in between. Like, I do need the EPA. Yes, I want the heart health. Yes, I want some of those, you know, joint support and anti-inflammatory benefits. But I'm also really needing the DHA for the brain support, really. And so what you'll see on this product is our new balanced. It's an even, you know, 50-50. Half of it is blue, half of it is purple. So you got half is our EPA, half is our DHA. And we've got the Health Canada label claims for arthritis and brain support right there on the bottle. It does make it very easy for you. We wanted you to be able to find the product that fits for you. So for all of those that are like, I really want some of those cardiovascular benefits, but you don't necessarily maybe fall so far into the 5x EPA or the 5x DHA, you're like, I kind of just want both, or, you know, you were contemplating buying both bottles. You don't have to now. You can start with the balanced, and it is a wonderful way to take advantage of the health benefits of equal parts of EPA and DHA. So as I've touched on all those wonderful benefits of EPA, all those wonderful benefits of DHA, this is here in both. You'll see right on the label that it's wild caught fish. It's all sustainable fishing practices. It's third-party tested, the same as all of our other products on IFOS. You can pull up the report for every single lot, every single SKU. And it's a great option in both the capsules, as I've said, are 4 capsules a day if you want to do a capsule, or half a tablespoon of the liquid. I will just say this, I know many people know, but please keep the liquid bottles in the fridge. So if you are taking a fish oil, always keep them refrigerated once they're open. When they're sealed, they're fine. Don't worry about it. But once you've opened it, please just keep it in the fridge to keep it fresh for you, okay? And I promised I would talk about the plant-based, and here we are. For all those of you that have waited for all this anchovy talk, here is your moment with the algae. So our high DHA vegan algae oil is the highest concentration of a plant-based omega-3 on the market. So algae oil is the only plant-based source of omega-3s that contains both the essential fatty acids of EPA and DHA. So it provides the same benefits as your fish oil and is a great choice if you don't eat fish. So our premium algae oil is also in an easily digested triglyceride form. So I want you to know as well that we're not sourcing this algae like constantly. What we're doing is it's actually pond sourced, and then it's grown through fermentation. So it's a very sustainable option. I know a lot of people, like, it would not be good if we were stripping, of course, our anchovies food source from the ocean. We wouldn't want to be doing that. So we've taken a little bit and we've grown it through fermentation, which makes it, again, sustainable. So you can feel really good about that. Now, algae, as you know, because the anchovies are eating this algae, and the anchovies are getting very rich in their omegas because of it. But what I want you to note is that algae is naturally rich in DHA. So you'll see it up at the top here. It's going to say DHA. We know DHA, D, direct to that brain. So we know this is going to be more for mood, memory, attention, focus, but you're still getting, what I want you to take away here is that 2.48 grams of your omega-3s, so 2,480 milligrams, however you want to look at it. You are still getting your daily maintenance dose of your required omega-3s in a plant source option. I was plant-based for about 9 years and I did it all wrong. I will own that mistake as a nutrition. This was before my years as a nutritionist. I think this is probably what led me into nutrition, was the fact that I was eating a very deficient plant-based diet. And so I wanted to make healthy choices and I just didn't have the tools or the education at the time to do so. And so what I noticed and what was my biggest struggle was a lot of the time when I was taking these plant-based supplements or I was eating these plant-based foods, is my diet itself was very rich in omega-6. So even though I was eating, like everyone would say it was it was very geared towards omega-6. Like there was lots of nuts, there was lots of seeds. All the oils I were taking were also plant oils that had quite a bit of omega-6 in them. And so I really was dealing with a lot of inflammation. And again, I was quite young at the time. So to be that young and dealing with inflammation didn't really align. So I wasn't feeling very good. So I will say that it wasn't the right call for me. And again, that was poor nutrition. So if I can speak to poor nutrition, this was a prime example. And what I've looked at and I've noticed on the market is oftentimes when we are looking for plant-based omega-3s is there's a lot of omega-6s in them. And just coming from somebody who ate a plant-based diet for many years in the wrong way, I will say that I didn't need more omega-6. I had enough. And so supplementing with more omega-6 is almost like, I don't know, just buying something that's unnecessary. Like it's the same as anything. Like it's just wasn't something I needed for my body. I needed more omega-3s. And that's really what I want you to think of in this product. If you know somebody who's plant-based, or if you are plant-based, one, I hope you're doing it obviously a lot better than I did and you don't make the same mistakes I did, but I also hope you're getting a really good omega-3 that is just keeping your levels up. Because again, if you're not eating fish and you're not getting it from anywhere else, we know that those plant sources don't really convert to EPA and DHA all that well. They do, but you get about a 2 to 5% conversion. So it's just slow and small. So I want you to keep in mind that this plant-based DHA is going to be phenomenal for, again, that brain health. It's going to be, again, healthy pregnancy. Think of that. But I want you thinking of this as your vegan health. So for those that are looking for like an omega-3 that's going to help balance out their omega-6s in their diet. It's going to provide all those cardiovascular benefits, those anti-inflammatory effects. This is really the one I want you keeping your eye on. Not to confuse you, this liquid bottle here, just know it's being reformulated. So we do have the capsules available in this product. It is a tapioca soft gel as well. So the capsule itself is fully vegan. There's no gelatin in this product. It's the capsule itself is tapioca. And just know the liquid, while it is in this slide as a photo, is being reformulated, and it will be a new development. Hopefully we have for you in the next year or so, but just know the capsules are available for you now. And then we do offer family sizes. The nice thing with the family sizes is you get twice the servings, and it is a phenomenal value for all our products. So just note that that is always available for you as well. And then I just want to touch on, before we wrap up here today, is the rising cost of fish oil. So AquaOmega, we have remained steady and have not raised our prices in over 2.5 years. So I'm really proud of us as a company for that. I think it's, we've all experienced inflation, of course, and it's been hard, I think, for a lot of people, and rather stressful just overall with the situation of things costing more. And so what I want you to note is that fish oil as a whole, it was an environmental and social issues that were driving the cost of fish oil. So what happened, it was 2024 to 2025, I believe, was the year where we had a warm ocean current come through. So this is a global issue. Just know it wasn't AquaOmega. This is us just kind of letting you know what we saw in the fishing kind of world, so that you can understand maybe why this happened. But what happened was we had fish that were further out and deeper down to try and get to the cold, and they were only yielding about 20% of the oil that they would normally have on them, because obviously when it's warmer, they don't need to be as fatty because they don't need to stay as warm. This obviously creates a supply and demand issue. So I want you to know that that's usually why the fish are going to be less fatty, is because it's warmer. And so, of course, that led to the cost of the crude oil. It went way beyond more than just double, but in 18 months. So it was a very short period of time where fish oil was very, very expensive. And it was like a global issue. There was obviously social issues and other things that were happening at the same time. But just know that the environment does play a huge role in how much oil you can actually get from fish and the sustainability that is around that as well. And so when we're looking at how we were able to maintain our prices, we are working on fighting inflation. So we do work directly with fisheries, crude oil facility, and the distillation plants. All our materials and components are purchased directly at the source, and everything is imported to Canada. So we blend, manufacture, and label everything here in Canada. The only thing we do is we get our anchovies off the coast of the South Pacific, just because that's where they live. And we're a proud GOED member. So that's the global organization of DHA, EPA, and DHA. And so John, our formulator who lives in Victoria, is actually sitting on the board with them. So it's really something that we're proud of. They are the leaders in kind of all that is in the know for omega-3s and sustainable fishing practices, and how to ensure that fishing and omega-3s are something that we have for years to come. And we are a smaller organization, so just know that all of this is going to give you better products for a better price. And then we are proudly Canadian. So we were established in Cornwall, Ontario, and we began as a family-run business, and we've continued to grow to a small dedicated team. And we are the fastest growing omega-3 brand that you know today. And we're so honored to be with you tonight. I want to thank you all for your time and for staying with us. And I'm so sorry that my camera just, for whatever reason, didn't want to work, but I'm so glad you could at least hear me. So at least we've got that going for us. But we're an all Canadian company, and that's really something that we are truly proud of. And we're proud of working in Canada and having the product made here as well. So thank you again so much for your time and for your attention this evening.
Amazing. Thank you, Paige and AquaOmega, for putting on this presentation for us this evening. I think we all learned a lot about omega-3s.